barely shows up, you don't have enough. So, what do you say we get started? One, I'm going to start with the simple sky. I've got some phthalo blue sitting over here, and I'm just going to scrub in an idea, scrub in some color, leaving it wavy gravy, just playing with it on the canvas. I didn't use much paint, I just pulled a little off right there. Okay, and we'll go up here, and we'll come down, hit a little harder. We're leaving them blank areas because we might put some clouds in. Who knows? But when we get to where we think our sky is going to be, and as you can see, it gets thinner and lighter and lighter and thinner at the bottom. Okay. Hey, thank you for the rose and the follows. I really appreciate it. What we're going to do is I'm going to crisscross with this big old brush. And we're going to blend the color in. And we left that bit of white out because we want some background clouds, and we're going to add some foreground clouds. I'll put a little more dark up here. There we go. And we're just going to kind of whip it in. No problem. Just like so. And we're going to go thin, oh, say about there. Yeah, that'll work. We're going to crisscross, kind of get rid of some of those brush marks. Alright, perfect. We have an awesome sky. It's got some wispy clouds in the background, but if anything I know about you guys, you want a little more. You want some happy little clouds. So let's add those. I'm going to pull over here some titanium white. Okay. And my trusty old fan brush. We'll just grab that one. And we're going to load that paint on. Just really load it up. Okay. And up here where it's a little bit lighter, that's where we're going to smash in the color. See, I'm just pushing it into my canvas. Smashing in the color. Make sure to get all the white right off. Now I'm blue. So, I'm going to clean my brush real quick. A little paint thinner. No problem. I got a little bucket down here. I'm yeeting the devil right on out. No, I'm not stealing Bob Ross's vibe. I'm showing you how to paint. Now we're going to put, just scrub. See how rough I am with that brush? Just scrubbing it in. Just like that. A little paint thinner. Clean my brush. No, I'm not copying him because Bob Ross copied Bill Alexander. Bill Alexander is actually someone I've learned from. So, scrubbing some paint in, just like that. Just wild, having fun. Pull all that titanium white in, we'll put a lazy little bit there. Just touch it in how you want, no problem. I mean, our focus tonight isn't clouds. Our focus, thank you for the share, I appreciate that. Focus tonight will be mountains and trees. So, alright, what I'm going to do, with a little dry brush I got here, I'm just going to kind of tease and fluff these clouds. Nothing major, just kind of blending them in with the background. Pulling them up and down, side to side. And if we want stronger clouds, what we can do is pull in some more white. really want maybe this side to be very strong with clouds and this side. So I'm going to pull a little more white onto my canvas. And what type of paint am I using? I am using a mixture between BRI product, Bob Ross, and then Gamblin 1980. And that's an awesome, awesome brand. There we go. So we're just pushing those clouds. Just like that. Cleaning my brush. Heck, we'll make a big push right up top here. Okay. Push some paint right into the canvas. And we'll get to the fun part here, what you guys came for in a second, but I just want to put in a nice wispy background, okay? Okay. A little more. We'll fluff these real quick. Blend them right into the canvas. Got a little hair there. There. Whoop, brought that hair right back. Son of a gun. I'll be chasing that hair all night long. Okay. Just kind of blend those out a little bit. No biggie. Okay. So, here's what you guys came for. Is the magic of a great palette knife and how to make mountains. So I can sit here and show you several different types of palette knife. This one you might be familiar with. Okay, it's a little bit thicker, a little more rigid, a little more expensive brand, but I don't understand why. This one, a little thinner, but well built. This one here, a little more expensive, but it's well built, and the way it feels and the way it reacts, it's a key thing. It's a key thing. Hey, thank you guys for the follows. Yes, this is an oil-based paint. So what I'm going to do, we're going to get started on some mountains. So I've got this nice dark blue tone, and I'm going to cut off, I don't know if you guys can see that or not, but there's a roll of paint right there. So I'm going to come in here-ish, and I'm going to scrape in. I'm pushing really hard right into the fabric. I'm going to scrape in a background of a mountain range here. Okay, just kind of scrape it in. Remove any excess paint, because when we go to add color, we'll put a little nub right in there. There we go. When we go to add color, we want as little as paint on the canvas as possible. So right there, we've got a background. Okay. Now I'm going to take that roll of paint again, and I want to add just a little bit more to this. I want to make it a little rougher, a little crazier. I don't want teepee type mountains. Okay. So I'm just pushing that canvas, or that knife, right into the canvas. And trust me, the canvas can take it. You can push as hard as you want, and you'll never really poke through. Come up here, make a peak, and we'll push all that into the distance. Then we're going to grab our brush, and we're going to pull any excess paint right down. Kind of follow the way the mountain's going, those ranges, the slopes. Okay, so there we have the beginning of a background. Now then, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go back into my white a little bit more, and depending if you're left or right-handed, which side you want the light to come from. Normally, because I'm left-handed, I like light coming this way, because we have this long slope here, and I'm going to put another mountain in front of it. I really want the light to come to this side. So, I'm going to clean my knife off. Okay. Grab some paint, make a nice flat roll, and cut that little bead of tape out. I'm going to come up to the edge, right up on the edge, and just pull down a little bit. Okay. That's a good start. Let me widen that bead a little bit. There we go. So, we're going to come right across and just pull on down, just like that. Okay. Same thing over and over. We're going to kind of just pull down and let that paint break. I don't know if you guys can see that at home, but there's a lot of little breaks and dewars and things that are happening right on the edge of that knife. Cut this off a little bit. Hey, thank you so much for the roses. I really appreciate it. I do have a YouTube. Haven't really posted a lot to it. You can see that I've done a few. I was starting as an acrylic artist, and then I swapped over to oil. So you can see both acrylic and oils. It's under Acrylic Mick Harper on YouTube, actually. It's linked, I believe, to my TikTok. Okay. So we're just going to pull some white down, letting it break. It's like a light touch. You're just letting the color get pulled off. And as you can see, I'm bringing some of that dark back. So I kind of like to wipe my knife. Now come in with some more white. Okay. So we put a ridge there. Let's put a little bit of light right on this crest. Put a little bit of white right there. And I tell you what, we'll put this mountain in front of that mountain. So we'll bring that really, really got a little red there. Somehow I got a little red on my... There we go. Okay, so we're just going to put a peak, put a little paint right there to show that the light's over here, it's hitting here, it touches there, and then we're really going to pull this peak. Excuse me. Okay. There we go. Right there. Right across. Okay. Just kind of pull that right down. And you see how that moves that mountain right into the foreground. Okay, we're going to add a little to it. And there you have your mountains. Hey, thank you so much. But we're not done yet. So we're going to take a little bit of that Prussian blue and a little bit of that white that we have every time we touch the palette. In fact, we might even pull a little bit of darker color in there. But every time you touch the palette and you wipe off your knife, I always like to wipe it off to the side of my palette so I get a little bit to work with. So over here, I'm just going to kind of touch and pull create a shadow color. Okay, we might even want that just a little bit brighter as we move forward, but okay. So we're going to put in a nice little shadow color. Boom, boom. Wherever you think the shadow would hit, well, that's where it's supposed to be. So you can pull down here. Just kind of follow your mountain. That's the best way I can explain it. Follow the slopes of your mountain. Okay. We'll put a couple cracks down in here, one there, one down in here. Then, what I like to do, I'm going to double layer it a little bit. So I come into my white and grab a roll of paint again and go over those areas once more. Just a little extra, little touch. It adds a little bit of, more, for lack of better words. So just pull them on down, just like that. Okay, I'm going to pull my white out. Really want to make this nice and bright. So this leading edge, I'm just letting the knife take what it wants right off, just like that. Hey, thank you for the shares and the likes and the follows. I appreciate it. And then what we can do too is put a little bit of a lighter color right over that darker color. Really build that range. You're adding a little bit of light in the dark. Put it that way. We'll come down here, add a little bit, a little brighter. Some here, some there. Just touch it out. Feel it. You know, do how you want to do. In fact, I want to bring this slope right over so that it cuts in front of that big old glorious mountain there. Okay? Then a couple of zigzag strokes with the lighter color. Boom. Okay. That's our first range of mountains, by the way. So we are going to do a next range, and what we're going to do is I like to pull the color down just a little bit. Follow the slope of your mountain, kind of pull it down, and then you can take and just tap. Ooh, boy, that's a little loud, isn't it? But if you tap and glide across a couple hairs, no big deal, and you get a mist. Okay? So I'm just gonna do some touch-ups. I'm sorry if I'm blocking the camera. There we go. Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate it. So now I want to bring a range of mountains this way. So I'm going to go into that real dark blue color that I had. Okay. Cut off that roll of paint. But I want to start a range that goes, we want to keep some of this mist. We don't want to kill it. So I'm going to start a range, say right there. Right on the edge of my canvas. And then we'll pull it down right below. There's that mist right there. Okay? So we're going to bring it down and really just kind of like before, scrape off the excess, scrape that color down. then what I think I want to do is put a small little peak here in between the mist. So what I'm going to do is just kind of make a rough little shape right there, a little bumpity bump, and bring it right off the edge of my canvas, just like that. Alright, so I'm going to scrape, again, scrape off the excess paint. And you guys can hear me, I'm just scratching and scraping. Might put a little ridge here and a bump there, make it kind of a little rough. Okay, there we go. So, now we have a foreground mountain range. What I'm going to do is I'm going to pull this extra paint right off. I don't want to disrupt that dark line there, that dark bead there, but I'm going to pull paint according to the slope. So we'll go down right across. We'll start up here and pull down right across. Right up to that ridge, right across. Just pull. And then blend it out a little bit. And that, again, creates your mist layer. I will say, I don't really like to have too much mist right here, so I'm just gonna put in a little bump there. Make this a little more ragged, rough, rounded. It's kind of the base of the mountain, if you will. So, scrape a little paint in there. Move it around. And then we'll just pull the excess paint right off. Just like that, just so simple. Now then, because we determined that the sun is coming this way, we know that this side of the mountain is going to be the shadow side. We're going to put some highlights along the way and a little bit of highlight right running down the front of the mountain. But mainly, it's going to be the shadow color. So I'm going to start with some white. I'm going to just touch here and there on these peaks and these plateaus a little bit. Somehow I got red in my painting, but it's okay. We'll make it work. Put a little more white down. We'll get rid of that red. Go right back over that. See, I just touch and pull. Let the canvas take what it wants. Just a little bit here and there. Like that. Oh, the outline is already in my head, man. I already have an idea of what I want to do. So I just do it. I don't need to draw it out no more. I've done enough paintings that I can just kind of already see something in my head. And we're going to put a little bit right there. Just like that. Now then, we will put some white just on the edge of the painting. Pull a little bit here and there. Because we are going to, here we'll put a nice little plateau peak in there. But this is going to be the shadow side of the mountain. Sun's coming here. You have those other mountains in the background. You have the foreground mountains. We're going to put in shadow here. And if we want, we could do another layer of mountains. Maybe we'll get crazy and do that. Shoot, I don't know. Okay, so I'm going to mix up. I've got a little dark blue, a little phthalo blue, some white. We're going to mix this up a little brighter so you guys at home can see that. There we go. Yeah. Alright. So then I'm just pulling my knife the other way. Yep. A little more white. You guys can't quite see that. Now I want you guys to be able to see it. Heck, we'll just take it off. Mix it up a little bit ribboned, if you will. Okay, so then we pull the opposite side. Okay, and if you've got small little areas, you can use the tippy top of this flat edge of the palette knife. Whereas, like the other palette knives, they do have flat edges, but I don't know if you can see the difference. This one's so much more easier to work with. So, I'm going to come over here. Pull down, put some shadow in, pull some shadow down over here. We'll grab a little bit more. Shadow break there, push a little bit there. Okay, now we're really going to focus on this side. So, I'm just scraping up all my paint. As you can see, I don't have a plan. I'm not really, I'm just going with it, man. I don't know how to explain it other than that. Okay. So now we're going to take on this side and with my knife, just pull color in. And that may not be bright enough. That's okay. Just pulling it. In fact, I add a little more white. That mountain, the shadow side will be a little bit brighter. No problem. Just mixing as we go, as you can see. Pulling a little blue in. There we go. Now we've kind of got a gray blue, which I think will really pop here. So just pull down, let it break. We're going to pull right across, and then tip your, it's all about the angle of your knife, of what you're doing with it. Okay, now, got nothing but titanium white right there. We're going to layer the shadows just a little bit. Put a little bit of white off to one edge and make it look brighter. Just like that. Just pull on down. And I'm sorry I can't really talk too much with you guys or interact with you, but you know, I'm painting and the camera's at the a weird angle and my my world's just a little goofy right now. We'll put a little lighter shadow like that, just like that. Yep. We'll kind of strengthen that foremountain a little bit and pull some off. Okay, now to finish the foreground mountain, what I want to do is I'm going to really punch the white off to the side here. Just pulling. It's a little too bright there. So I'm just pulling that paint right there. Bam. Okay, but I'm going to accentuate the opposite side where the sun is coming in and really hit that mountain. Really hit it. So I'm going to clean my palette, get that roll of paint, and just let the white get pulled right off of it. See, now we've got a in-depth mountain. Pull a little bit right there, right on the cusp where the mountain's breaking. Okay, and what I am going to do is I'm going to lighten this edge. A little bit of a knife work here. We're going to make that shadow not near as, crazy. Okay. Alright, well I think we got mountains covered. What do you think, folks? I'm going to come in here, I'm going to layer just a bit, some shadows. Just going to let the knife pull stuff. You know, just kind of letting the paint break, fall apart. Just like that. Yep. Really going to put a highlight right across there, though. Because that's where the sun comes across to the mountains. That's where the sun comes. So the sun is this direction, hitting those mountains. It's on this side, hitting this mountain, but it's hitting the other mountains as well. And I tell you what, let's even it out with, something like that. Just something like that. Make a shadow side, some shadow breaks. A little bit of lower mountain there. Okay, so what we're going to do is I'm going to kind of pull, like we did with our other mountains. I'm just going to pull down. And then blend it out. Out, get rid of your lines. Oh, hey, thank you so much for the 10. I appreciate it. Okay. Now then, what I was also going to tell you guys we're going to focus on is trees. Okay. So I'm going to clean my fan brush real quick. Got a little paint thinner right here. Got a bucket down here. Going to yeet the devil out of it. Okay. So I'm going to pull, I've got this green left over from last night's painting. And I'm going to pull that into a little alizarin crimson. I'm going to make it dark. I'm also going to add some phthalo blue to it. I have a little bit left on my palette, but not enough to do what I want, so we'll pull some phthalo blue there. A little bit of dark color. Okay. Mix that up really well. Coat your fan brush. I even like to swirl it, make sure it's nice and loaded to a sharp edge. Any wild hairs, they'll get right in line. Okay, so what I think I'm going to do is we're going to start right in the middle. It's going to be the highest spot. So I'm just taking my fan brush straight up and down and putting in some color. I'm not worried about shape or form or anything yet. As you can see, my lines are wild, and I'm just smashing that brush. Just smashing it in. Okay, pull some more color. We'll add a couple peaks. And if you want, with the edge of your brush, just notch here and there, just notch tippy toe or tippy bit of some trees. It's a lot of fun. If you're working on being good as me, then you are on the path to success, because I have only been doing this roughly 10 months. So keep it up. Just gonna smash. These are trees that are kind of in the background. We don't really need detail, we just need them straight. Okay, smash that color in. Got to condition your canvas. It's got to be ready for all that paint. Okay. So I'm just mixing blues and greens together. No real care or concern. Sorry if I'm blocking the view. My apologies. Just make them straight up though. I know it's kind of hard for me to do so, but I'm just scrubbing that paint right into the canvas. It's hard for me to always keep straight because I'm leaning and trying to show you guys how to paint, and I'm trying not to block your view. So, alright. There's a background of trees. Real simple. Just smashing them in. Okay? And thank you guys for the follows and the shares and yeah, everything. It's awesome. So, I want to tap here at the edge, so I'm going to make that mist. Sorry if I'm making a lot of ragged, but I want to make that mist between layers, because we're going to go darker in the back and work brighter into the foreground. So I want that mist, and if I really, really want to add some mist, the best thing I can do, grab some white onto this brush. Let's put a little bit of white down there, and we'll tap like the corner of my brush into it. Hey, thank you. I'm glad that you find this pretty. So just tap, pull some white, and tap at the bottom, here and there, and that'll create kind of a misty, green misty feel, and white, and then just kind of blend it out. You can also like pull up a little bit, and that adds so much. Blend it across. We'll grab some little more white. Let's have fun with it. So you just smash that in. Just smashing it in. You can pull up a little bit and adds like trunks and trees and breaks in the light that you really aren't expecting. Okay, a couple hairs. I'm gonna wipe this brush off real quick. A couple hairs right across to blend it out. Just blend it out. Okay, and there we go. So now we're going to do another row of trees closer. Alright, with the same brush, what I'm going to do is just clean it a little bit, get that blue, that really heavy blue out of there. Gonna eat the devil. So now I'm going to come in. I've got some leftover. It's essentially sap green with cad yellow. Okay. And I'm going to put in another layer of trees. Again, it's not going to be too well defined. We want to keep that mist that we have. So we're just going to push some paint right onto the canvas. Right here. See that? It's pretty easy. Nothing to it, folks. We're just going to make these trees a little lighter than the ones in the background. I'm using my fan brush, and you got to pull up or make sure it's straight. Kind of punching in, really pushing in that color. Okay? Make one or two a little more defined, and just go up and down with it. Up and down. Flip that brush whenever it runs out of paint. Grab some more paint when you need to. Up and down. Nothing major. Bam. Look at that. I'm just going to load that. Just like that. Okay. Now, what I like to do is just kind of pull up a little bit. Make sure the tippy tops of my trees are looking good. Put in some, with the fan brush, you're putting in a couple background, a little bit of tree motion or extensions. Kind of blend it out like that. And you see how simple we've gotten mountains the sun's really reflecting on. Got some background trees, a little bit of mist, and then some foreground trees. Okay. Now, with these ones, what I'm going to do, I've got some leftover blue. Instead of going lighter at the bottom, I'm going to go a little darker. Okay. I'm just pulling up with my fan brush and putting some of that blue paint right in there. I want to go a little darker because the mist is gone. We're getting more into the thicket of the forest. Just pull it up just like that. Okay, and you can come in with some green here and there and just maybe punch one or two a little bit closer. No problem. Just like that. Okay. So, what we're going to do, same thing, is we're just going to add a little bit of mist. A little bit of mist. You need dark in order to create light. So you need that dark bit, and you're tapping into that light to kind of create a mist. And gently go across it, a couple hairs. Now then, are you guys ready for me to go really, really nutty? I'm thinking big old pine tree right here. Maybe one right there. And a little one right there. So we have background, background, way back in the background. Okay? You can even, if you want, I'm going to take a little white. A little of that green color. I'm going to punch the occasional tree in the background just to make it highlighted. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to get some phthalo blue. I've got some alizarin crimson already on there. And I'm going to put some sap green down on my palette. Boop, just like so. Take my old trusty palette knife and pick up that alizarin crimson, sap green, phthalo blue. We're going to make a nice dark color. Something we can really highlight on. Mix it up. like that. Okay. Now I do want to highlight a couple of trees here and there in the background and make sure they're not lost. So I'm going to put just a skosh, a tiny bit of cad yellow down, a little bit of paint thinner, and kind of introduce this color into the background. I know it's kind of hard to see, but it's the details like this that really sell paintings. I'll just put a little highlight here and there. No problem, no problem. Sink them in wherever you want. There you go. Okay. There we go. That brings that background a little more into the foreground. So anyway, I'm going to mix up right into this darker color. Oh boy, where do I want to split? I'll tell you what, let's split the mountain right there. Bam. There's our tree. That's where he lives. Okay. Put a little more of a tippy top on him. And then I'm going to turn my fan brush and gently push into the canvas and get wider and wider. Flip that brush because it has loads of paint in it. We're really loading on brushes. And we'll bring it down. Load it up again. And just push that paint right in there. We might even make some more of this color. Make a few more trees than what I thought originally. That's what's awesome is you can just, yep, we can put a guy right there. The tree lives there. Right there. And you're just pushing across with your fan brush, getting wider and wider each time. I've got an idea, maybe. Well, we'll put in a few more trees, and then we'll just decide if I'm going to go crazy or not. I really want that tree to be seen, so I'm reinforcing him. Thank you guys for the follows, the likes, the shares, the comments. I'm sorry I'm not able to keep up. Painting and talking at the same time. It's pretty rough. Okay, where do I want my next one? Shoot. Let's... Oh, where do I want it? Yep, right there. There's a bald spot right there. You can't have bald spots. So that's where our next tree is. And we're just gonna tap on him, make him bigger. And pretty soon we'll get to the highlights. But because these trees are so close, we're gonna put in tree trunks. We're gonna have an amazing time. Right now I'm just conditioning my canvas with a nice dark color. Because again, you need to have both the dark and the light together. Without one, without lightness, light, there is no dark, and without dark, there is no light. So, okay. About maybe how your trees aren't looking so good. It's all about how you move and touch the canvas. Okay? That's what it's all about with the fan brush. I'm going to need to mix up some more paint, so I'm going to put a little more sap green, some alizarin crimson, phthalo blue. You know, that's like one of the darkest colors you can get. I find it even better than black truthfully. Alizarin Crimson, there you are. Boop. Alright. We're going to mix up, and then we're going to put a gigantic tree right there. That's why we're going to need a little more mix of paint. Okay, we've got that pretty well mixed up. Happy trees, that's right. So, we're going to coat our brush, and I may block the camera a little bit here, and I'll try not to as much, but we're going to kind of break up all the way down right there. Yep, we did it. There's not much more we can do about it now, but accept it. And make the best of it. So anyway, you see how I'm doing side-to-side motions with my fan brush? Really pushing into that canvas. And it kind of looks like I ate up my background here, which I did, but you guys know, if you were at the beginning, you saw, you know what's going on, what was there, what's not there. It's a Big Daddy tree right here. Okay, I'm going to pull some more paint and just go right across. Adding where I want, making that tree as big as I want or as small as I want. It doesn't really matter. You just need to cover this canvas here. I mean, we might have some shrubs and bushes and everything in front, but in order to highlight, you have to have something to go off of. So, we're just smashing paint for right now. There we go. Okay. Hey, thank you for the shares. I really appreciate that. All right. You guys, I have only been painting in this style for about 10, soon to be 11 months. So this is a style that most anyone can learn. And it's so easy to do. Yeah, it's a great style for beginners, because if you really think about it, hey, thank you for the roses, I appreciate that. The mountains were not too hard to do. Forebreak of the mountain and the background, not too hard, and we had a little bit there. And actually, what I think I'm going to do, I don't really like this midsection green here. We're going to get rid of that. And what's awesome about this style of painting, if you don't like something, you just throw a tree or a cabin or something right over it, and no one will be wiser. No one will be wiser at all. Put a tree right back in there. So now it looks like you have foreground trees, some background trees, and then the mountains. Oh, let's put one right there. Just smashing paint right into the canvas. Yeah, there we go. Now it kind of generates that misty, hidden area in the background. And if you wanted to touch up, just pull to blend. Hide some of those colors, pull them up. Just like that. Boy, look at that. We have an amazing painting, don't we? We have an amazing painting going on. Okay. Do just a little bit of extra punches and detail work. Make that tree a little bit bigger, fill in some voids. Now what we're going to do is we're going to introduce the light. So we need highlights. That's for sure. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to toss in, I've got some cad yellow here. I'll need all of you, buddy. Sound effects, gotta love them. And to make it brighter too, I'm going to add a little bit of titanium white. There we go. So I have pretty much 2-to-1 ratio. Alright. I'm going to clean this brush really, really well. Got a little slosh bucket down here. Eating the devil out of it. I'm going to take my palette knife, clean it off, mix that up. There we go. We've got a nice bright, bright yellow. Look at that. Ooh. Digging it. Okay. Now before we do that, I have a little Van Dyke brown. Put on my knife, and I'm going to occasionally touch here and there, make a tree trunk. Okay. Yep. Pull a little more paint. We'll make a tree trunk or two. Nothing major. Put one back in there. One there. Maybe one there. There we go. That's good enough with the Van Dyke brown. We're going to cover over with a lighter color those tree trunks, but we need to kind of keep them introduced, but not cover them completely. So I'm coming in with this cad yellow, and I'm going to pick one side of the tree to highlight, which on this tree, we already determined the sun's coming this way. So I'm going to go to the right side and get lighter at the top and darker as we go down. Add a little bit in the background there. Just like that, okay? Now it gets misty into that dark area we don't know. But we're going to come in, a little paint thinner. Thin paint will stick to a thick paint. So kind of thin your paint a little bit. Okay? Right at the tip top, crossing over, adding some highlights, bouncing across where that trunk comes out a little bit, highlighting under it, around it, but mainly to the right side, okay? Mainly to the right side, and then whisper off into nothingness. Feel like you got too bright, punch it with some dark. No one will ever know. Just hide it up just like that. Okay? Yes, this is oil painting. Alright, I'm going to clean my fan brush. Come back in with some paint thinner. Add some cad yellow. And we're going to kind of touch this guy. It's very bright. He's in the background, soaking up all the sun. I determined that guy, he's in the background too, soaking up some sun. But then he goes off into nothingness, just like that. Thank you guys for the shares and lives. Yeah, I had my start with acrylic. In fact, I used to go buy acrylic Mick instead of oils with Mick because I thoroughly enjoyed acrylics. But once I learned this fun style, I just kind of kept with it. Alright, there we're forming our trees. Look at that. Look at that. It's just amazing. Alright, so over here, I will say I gotta kind of cover the camera a little bit because of angle. I'm adding some paint thinner and some cad yellow with some white. I need to come over to this side of this tree and really punch it, the sun, on this side. Really punch it. Sometimes it helps just to do the one side of the tree, work your way down, so you know how bright you need to be. We're getting a little muddy, but that's okay. Put a little more white in, or yellow in. Bring it down across the trunk. And then we'll get darker. We're not interrupting all those dark spots, but we're letting the sun shine through on this side of the tree a little bit too. Put a little more paint thinner on there. Maybe get a nice little bit of color here. Punch. Punch across that trunk. Let it be there, but not be there. And look at that. Oh, thank you so much for the... Hey, Tiff, how are you? Long time, my friend. Okay, so we've got a couple of mountains, some background trees, and some foreground trees. Now then, what should we do with here? That's a good question that I ask myself. Because I have an idea, but maybe I'm asking you guys, what should I put in at the bottom? I want to punch a little more brightness over here. Thanks for joining, Tiff, by the way. I appreciate that. Good to see you. Some rocks. You know what? I may take you up on that offer. I got some Van Dyke Brown over here, some Alizarin Crimson, some Phthalo Blue. We'll mix that up. I'll come back in with a little more. Oh, where'd my Van Dyke Brown go? Oh, I got some dark sienna. That'll work too. And I hear you there, Tiff. Alive. Whew, that's mean. So we'll take some dark sienna, and one thing we can do also with the dark sienna is make a little roll, and we can just touch on one side of that trunk if we wanted to. Really kind of makes it pop, but you want rocks. Alright, so what I'm going to do is just pull some paint right down. We're going to make, in fact, right there, it's going to be a water line. Just scraping it in a little bit. Trying to figure out where it's going to be. I got to ride the canvas frame line, which is annoying. Put a rock down in there. Okay. Take some more paint, and just like mountains, you just scrape the paint in, leave a little bit behind, let it break up, pull, just like that. Okay, why don't we put a big old crazy rock right there. Just kind of pull that paint into the canvas. We'll make it a little bit round. There we go. Okay, so I've got a shadow color mixed up. Perfect. Now, let's take some of that dark sienna. Excuse me a second. I'm going to clear off a section of my palette. I'm just taking a rag here, wiping off any excess paint. So we're going to take some dark sienna and some white, mix it and marble it together, and put some rocks right up front. Yeah, that's what we're going to do. That sounds like a great idea. Hey, thank you for the roses. Thank you for the follows, the likes, the comments. Sorry again, I'm not able to address every comment or every person that comes in. Alright, we're going to marble that color just a little bit. Get that roll of paint. And we're just going to touch and pull and give some highlights to these old mud rocks or brown rocks or whatever you want to call them. We'll just put in a bank. That's what we're going to do. Because I'm going to pull in some water right there. There we go. So we've highlighted. Okay. Clean my knife off. Get that roll of paint. We're going to come over here. The light's coming here, so it's going to hit this side of the rock. Okay, just pulling down just like mountains. Just letting the canvas take what it wants. Just make it nice and smooth. Flat. Mix this up. Alright, good. Boom. Like that. There we go. Hey, thank you for the rose. I appreciate it. So we got a nice chunk of rock right there. What I think I'm going to do is I'm going to add a little bit of brown to this darker color and mix it with the remainder of my color. We'll make a shadow color. And we'll just kind of notch in a couple of darker stones, a couple of darker areas. No big deal. Boom, boom, boom. Bob's your uncle. Like that. Yeah, I think that those rocks are a good add. So thank you, whomever decided to tell me about adding rocks. That was a good idea. Sorry I didn't catch your name. Now then. In order to complete this painting, I think we're going to do a little bit of highlighting. Yep. So I'm really going to clean my knife off. I'm going to grab some white. Oh, thank you so much for the roses and the gifts, you guys. I appreciate it. That's so awesome. Okay. So we're going to get that roll of paint. We're going to come right here and we're just going to scrape in the shoreline. Scrape in some water movements. I always clean my knife before I go back in. Just scrape in. There you go. A little bit of water movements. Across that rock. Put a little bit here with the knife. Make some water movements. Some water movements. Pull across. Dull that a little bit. And by George, I think we're almost done. I'm going to come across here and just define that line a little bit more. Edge of the canvas is always so much fun to try to paint on. But a little bit of sunlight's coming in there, coming across the water. Boom. I don't know, guys. What do you think? Should we call it done? Let me look at that painting. It's always good to take a step back, look at your work, decide where you need to add some touch-ups, which I'm going to add a little bit of white. I've got this leftover white, touch paint thinner. I'm really going to brighten this tree. And I'm going to step in front of the camera, so I apologize. But I'm going to brighten the edges just a bit. Pop some bright white color here and there. Nowhere major. Might even pull up a little bit with the fan brush, make it look like there's some grass growing right on top of that rock, just to break up that hue. Okay? And then I'll say, if you're not ever really happy with your water, clean my fan brush there, take a 1-inch brush and gently rub across, and I will thin those lines a little bit. Just thin them ever so slightly. And now we're going to add, that went a little too far, so I just want to add, and voila. There we are, folks. I'm going to move you a little closer so that you can see it. Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Kind of turn my light a little bit too so you guys get that nice sense of what I'm working on or what I have to work with here. Might come off. Thank you for the shares. I appreciate it ever so much. Might come right there. Oh yeah. That's a good shot right there, isn't it? Look at that. Thank you for the tip and the shares. Oh, Tiff, thanks. Thank you so much. But yeah, you've got a nice hardy mount. Oh, Tiff, thank you. And Mishki, I appreciate it. We got a hardy mountain in the background, some more in the closer range, and then the far back, you've got those long mountains so far away. And you've got a little mist in between. And then you've got some darker pines that are just not getting the sunlight because they're covered by the mountain. And then you have a foreground. And with that foreground, you have a rocky edge. And then you've got a little bit of water at the bottom. Thank you. Thank you, Tiff. And you got a little bit of water at the bottom where it's dark, but it's not bright, because imagine that there's another mountain range or something that's covering up the sun, or this is some still water just chilling. And as far as when my next tutorial will be, well, that's always a great question. People ask me that all the time. I'm coming with a little more white here, some paint thinner. I just want to highlight that grass a little bit. Oh yeah, there we go. It's coming. I try to go live a couple times a week. Sorry, I'm lost in my painting right now. But I try to go live a couple times a week, around 5 to 7 p.m. Central Time. hey, I'm so glad that you enjoyed and you sat and watched the whole thing. That's awesome. I appreciate that. And then weekends, I just kind of pop on whenever. I really don't have a set schedule because my job is a little demanding, so sometimes getting home at 5 p.m. doesn't always work for me. Doesn't always work for me. So I'll try to announce when I go live. That's a thing that I have now, the capability, because of you guys and following me and liking me and everything. So, but anyhow, I thought I'd leave you guys with this. I might meddle with it a little bit more. As you can see, as I move the light, the center is very, very bright. Might dull that down a little bit. 6 hours from the UK, I'm behind. I know that because I have family there. So, or I might actually, one of the better things to do is just to highlight a neutral color. Not a bright, but just tap it in to cut some of that brightness. Just cut it down a little bit. Dull it down. Just tapping it. It's also picking up that underneath color. There we go. Yeah, I think I'm a little more happy with that. But yeah, thank you guys for joining me, and the comments and the likes. I'm going to leave this up for just a few minutes here, and it'll give me a chance to talk to you guys. So if you have any questions, now would be the time. Hey, I'm glad that you learned from this. Well, you need to get back into oil painting. If you had so much enjoyment on this video, think about how much enjoyment you would have doing it yourself. Thank you again, Tiff. Okay, so how does a yellow work with a green? That's a great question. So the best way I can explain it is a dark color enhances a light color, and a light color is used to kind of diminish a dark color or make it darker. So when you have a yes, you can make it with acrylic. Sorry, I'm all over the place. But when you have a dark tone to start with, when you're adding yellow, it's combining with those tones. So I added alizarin crimson, phthalo blue, and sap green together. So yellow and blue is green already. Green and yellow is a brighter or different color of green. And the alizarin crimson I add in there just to darken the hue a little bit. So when you start with a base color that's dark and you work lighter, sorry I'm moving you guys, my apologies, but when you start with a, like I said, a darker color and work lighter, it's easier. Did that make sense? I hope. Did I learn from Bob? So many people comment about how, you know, I'm Bob Ross-esque. So yes, I will say I started there. However, I moved on to Bill Alexander, who was Bob Ross's teacher, and I actually learned far, far, far more from Bill Alexander than I did Bob Ross. In my opinion, he is a way better painter. He created this style. He taught this style. So if you ever are watching Bob and you want to see something a lot different, check out Bill Alexander. Yes, light shows dark and dark shows light. That is correct. That is correct. I will say, in looking at this painting, how do I usually wash my oil brushes? No, yeah, you always have to wash your oil brushes. Dixie, by the way, check out Bill Alexander. He's everyone's grandpa, an old German grandpa. We'll put it that way. How do I usually wash them? So I have an odorless paint thinner. It's a Gamasol odorless spirits, and I dunk them. I've got this little glass tube right here, and so I dunk my brush in there over and over, and it has a little spring in the bottom like a screen, and then I kind of rinse it, or drag it out like so. Do it 1 or 2 times, and then I've got a slosh bucket down below where I yeet the devil out of it. Okay, and then I come up with a rag, and this is an old dry oil rag. There are no colors that will transfer onto my brushes, but dry them. You have to make sure you get all the paint thinner out in order to try different things, because if you make a thin paint and then try to add on to it, a thin paint will not stick to a thin paint. So always make sure that you clean and dry your brushes very thoroughly. But then also another tip that I use is like baby wipes. Okay. I've got a couple just sitting here. But this is another way to really extract color. I'll grab 2 of them real quick out of your brush, is by doing this. Okay. What the paint thinner doesn't take out, I don't know if you can see that, but there is green there. Okay. And that really cleans your brushes. And then you just knock the lint out, and you're good to go. Also, for cleanup, baby wipes work great on the hands. So, just an FYI there. Hopefully that answers your question. I don't know what ingredient helps in the baby wipes, but obviously there's some kind of oil base. I could sit here and look, and I've tried different baby wipes. I could tell you maybe what works best, what doesn't work best, blah, blah, blah. But really, it's up to you and your preference. But I think there's some kind of oil that really takes the color out. I don't know how to explain it other than that. But it works great for your hands, I will tell you that much. Alright, awesome. I'm glad I was helpful. I appreciate that I could be helpful. But man, looking at this painting, I will say it's cool. I have a mountain to the edge. I've got my sky. I've got other mountains. I got a background. I've got a foreground. But something just seems to keep telling me that it's missing right in between those trees. Wildflowers. Wildflowers. What I could do, in fact, what I may do, let's add a little punch. So I'm going to take a rag here and clean off a spot to work. Okay. Boom. Yeah, I do think a little punch of like orange. Yeah. A little punch of orange I think might help. So I've got this foliage brush. It's basically a round brush. Put a little paint thinner into it. come into that orange, and we're going to put some dots, like some flowers. Just a different bit of color. That will, a little more paint thinner. It's not quite sticking how I want. There we go. We'll break it up. Yeah, there we go. Just kind of break it up with a little bit of orange. Something that's turning colors this time of year. Bill Alexander is not still alive, no, unfortunately. He was a great guy. You can check out his YouTubes. His YouTubes are great. Let's use the knife and scratch. I'm going to scratch some sticks and twigs and other things, and then add that orange on top. In fact, I might even, I've got just a touch of cad yellow out. So yellow and orange, boy, that'll really brighten it up. Whoever told me to do that, thank you so much. Some little dandelions or yellow or goldenrod, or, you know, something's hanging out there. Just blooming. Just put some color back in there. Try not to hit that green too much. Yeah, that's what will make those little reeds. We'll make them some kind of flower. There you go. I know you can't see that very well at home, but trust me, it's there. It's there. More yellow, some orange, pull some orange in there. We'll really make this pop. Layer it so you guys can see it at home. Just punch in a couple different colors. Boom, boom. There we go. Oh, now somebody wants birds. Oh, good God. This is why I try to keep my lives under. Oh, now somebody wants birds. Oh, good God. This is why I try to keep my lives under, and, you know, like my set time. Because everybody wants something on my painting. But for the fun sake of it, and you're lucking out, my friend, whomever you are that mentioned birds. Jalona 95 or something like that. We're going to throw in a bird right in the sky. So I've got some of that dark brown color left. We'll add some blue into that, some paint thinner, make it dark, 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 dark. Make it runny, dark and runny. That's near. Add extra details. Light and runny or dark and runny. I tell you what, let's throw one bird right there. There's a bird up in the sky. Might be hard for you guys to see at home. I don't want to make them too big, or else they'll look like velociraptors. Or pterodactyls. I mean pterodactyls. My apologies. But we'll put one right over the cloud there. Let's throw it in there. There you go. So, see how easy that was to add birds? And if you really want to define them, I've got what they call a script liner brush. We'll mix up some dark, 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 dark color. You come up here. There, we'll make them a little bit bigger for you guys at home. There's a bird right there. at that bird there. Make him really big. In fact, we can even put a tail on him and a body. He's so big, he's that close. He's about ready to soar over your head. And if you want, twist that brush. We'll put one more, a little much there, but one more right in the back, or right in the clouds. Yep, everybody's coming in at the end of the night. Got a finger touch there, I'll just blend that out. Everybody's coming in. Heck, we'll put a small little baby bird right there. He's coming in. There you go. There are a couple. Yeah, I do enjoy painting waterfalls. I've painted quite a few of them, actually. If you look at my videos, you will see I've actually done some amazing ones. So do feel free, check out my old videos. I tell you what, in order to define these, I'm going to darken them with a little more black. We'll put some birds in, like you said, but with what I had in my color palette, it just really doesn't make them pop. So some blue, some brown, some black. Twist that brush, make it nice and pointy, and then we'll come right across, right at the tip. Yep, there we go. Put a little head there. And pull that guy out. Yeah. It's a big old bird coming in for dinner. So don't want to meddle with it too much, but there you go. That's how you do a bird. In fact, I might even put a small little bird just by touching right in the background. A couple of small little birds back there. They're following their buddies. Okay. Well, I think I'm going to call this painting pretty much finished. I'm going to come back to this guy. Oh. Put a little paint on him, not much. Just want to make him, his wings a little more pointed. Yeah, like that. There you go. And when this dries, you can go over it and make highlights. So like you can put white tips at the end of the bird, or right where his head is, right there. You can highlight that. Right where his tail is, you know. You can do all kinds of fun things. After it dries a day or two, something like that. So. Hey, thank you, Tiff. How long is the dry time? Okay. So dry time to seal, put an even coating on it, 6 to 8 months, maybe a year, depending on your humidity. Dry time to ship is 3 to 4 months-ish, give or take. Dry time to sell, month and a half to 2 months, somewhere in there. Oh, I'd love to add a little squirrel, but I don't know how to paint squirrels. So dry time does vary, and it varies on your specific area, where if you have a lot of humidity, don't have a lot of humidity, have winter, don't have winter. So it's kind of hard. It's vague to really say. So I'm just going to mix up the rest of this paint. I like to, at the end of my palette, I always mix up the paint. That way if I ever, and I save it, I put it in the freezer. That way if I ever need weird dark colors or weird green colors, I know I've got it. So, but yeah, with that, guys, I think I'm gonna kind of wrap it up. I've gone well beyond my normal time that I allow myself to paint, but that's okay because I wanted to chat with you guys. But before I do that, I'm going to pull some yellow in, some of this green, add a bit of paint thinner, maybe a glob more yellow. I see an area I need to touch up, so just going to paint thinner, some yellow. We're going to touch up here. It gets a little too dark too quick, so we're just going to add right before those orange flowers. There we go. Now I'm a little more happy with it, I think. Yep. One or two punches here and there. Punch, punch, punch. Punch, punch, punch. Boom. Darken some areas. Boom. There we go. That's golden. My whole goal tonight was to come on and instruct you guys how to do mountains, how to do trees. I think I accomplished that. And you guys got me wanting to do birds and squirrels and all kinds of things, but I appreciate that. And hey, thank you for the gift, and thank you for the compliment. I really appreciate it. So, what I think I'm going to do, I've got one brush to clean out. I'm just going to push that down in the paint thinner. Get all that paint out. Got my little slop bucket. You guys ready to hear yeeting the devil out of it? There we go. Ta-da! Alright, my friends. On that note, I'm going to let you guys go. I've got a bit of cleanup to do. And, yeah, got some things to do. So, I'm going to leave you with it. I'll probably, when this dries about, a weekish, I'll probably come in and highlight a bird or two. And thank you again, Tiff. Hey, I'm glad that you enjoyed and that you were involved and watched. And yeah, I appreciate that. I really do. So, on that note, my friends, I'm going to go ahead and let you go. So, you all have a wonderful Monday night, or Monday morning, or Tuesday morning, or wherever you're from. Have a lovely day, and we'll talk to you soon. All right, thank you. Happy painting, my friends.